The following is a live presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. Are we going slow? I don't think so. Some hippie I am. My name is Ron Juckett. Welcome to the program for this 24th day of September 2025, and a day late, a dollar short, and some hair that desperately needs to be cut. So here's the deal with that, because some of you will come in and watch the beginning of this later on. The monitor I use to look at chat during these live streams didn't really want to work. It wanted to do a factory refresh. Apparently it needed a firmware upgrade, and I don't remember what my Wi-Fi password is for the television set, so because I don't use it except for this. So it didn't get. So when I thought I had it solved, and then it just showed me a black screen. So I played around with it this morning, and we're good to go. Anyway, so this is the tournament that Todd B recommended that I do, because we finished our baseball season. The New York Yankees won their second World Championship of the 7 years that we've done this. And so, if you have been with us, we did a blind draw of all 7 World Champions and the '88 Boston Red Sox, the only loser of a 7-game series in the 7 years that we've done this. And we did a blind draw to put the teams together for a best of 3. Will be the first round, the semis will be best of 3, and the finals will be best of 3. So it'll be, this first matchup will be the '85 St. Louis Cardinals, who I believe won the World Series that we did for the 2022 season, versus the 1978 Los Angeles Dodgers, who were, sorry, Mr. Cathy, the champions from 1978. Spoiler alert, of course that was 5 years ago. So rules for this, best of 3, it's a 1-1-1, so at Dodger Stadium today, game 2, which I'm hoping will be tomorrow, if the game will let me do it, because we're doing this as a playoff bracket, in St. Louis, and a third game, which would be Friday, would be in Los Angeles. So that's the plan, to do one series per week. So we're still on cue for that. We're just beginning late. So the 4 series that we'll do, and then that. So there will be a DH. It's hard to believe that in the 7 years that we've done this, and we've done 5 DH seasons, that we've only had 2 DH champions. In fact, well, we've only had 1 DH champion, and the Red Sox being the other team. But a DH for all this. And so back in time we go. The House of Tudor rides again. John Tudor and Bert Hooton next, as Retro Sports Network, how you doing, Victor, presents the best of Retro Sports Network. Retro Sports Network's greatest hits tournament. Today we start with game 1 from Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. It's the 1978 LA Dodgers versus the 1985 St. Louis Cardinals. And today's game is brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Find Dave and his guests on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. So it will be the Cardinals and the Dodgers from Dodger Stadium on a beautiful 80-degree night here in LA. This is June 4th, 19 or whatever year that they've determined this to be. I'm not sure what the computer says it is, but it's June 4th, and I picked that because that's my mom's birthday. Bert Hooton, who on paper was the best Dodger starter in '78. Happy Hooton was 28 years old, fastball at 85, a ground ball pitcher. He made 32 starts for Tommy Lasorda. Finished 10 games. Thank you. Hit 2.71 ERA. Went 19-10 for the Dodgers in real life. They did not win the World Series. They made the World Series, though. They lost to the Yankees in 6. They beat the Rangers in our replay in 5. 236 innings for Bert, 196 hits. 17 home runs. He walked 61 and struck out 104. He is a pitch-to-contact pitcher. The lineup for the Cardinals in Game 1 will be Vince Coleman leading off in left field. Willie McGee in center will bat second. Jack Clark at first, will go third. Andy Van Slyke, who is a folk hero on this channel, it will clean up in right field. Tommy Herr will bat fifth at second base. I bet I change that when we go to St. Louis. Darrell Porter, Mr. Fu Manchu himself behind the plate, will bat sixth. Terry Pendleton at third will bat seventh. Tito Landrum is the DH, because you get one in this tournament, will bat eighth. And the Wizard, being the second leadoff man, Ozzie Smith, will bat ninth. You picked the Cards, but you're a Yankee fan. Well, you got two teams in this tournament, Victor. Thank you. Thank you. You get the 49 Yankees and the 56 Yankees. Doesn't look happy in that photo. No. He threw a no-hitter, though, for the Cubs. Anyway, Hooten can give you 130 pitches. Defensively for the Dodgers, Ron Cey is 7 at third. Bill Russell at 8 and a 7 at short. Davey Lopes is a 10 and a 10 at second. Steve Garvey, when he's not flying America West, is a 9 at first. Dusty Baker, pictures a manager. Wow. Cheech, good job. A 7 and a 4 in left. Billy North, a 5 and a 3 in center. They go with North over Rick Monday with a lefty Tudor on the mound. And Reggie Smith is a 5 and an 8 in right. Joe Ferguson, a 6 and a 4 behind the plate. He's a better offensive bat than Steve Yeager. And Hooten is an 8 on the mound with a .978 fielding percentage. Skies are threatening, but it's Southern California. It doesn't rain here. Vince Coleman at 267, 10 triples and 40 RBI. Our friend Sean DeMarco asked, would there be anyone that I would just bunt every time that they come up for a base hit? And Vince Coleman is probably the perfect example for that, because he strikes out a metric ton 115 times in 85 to get on base, because he stole 110 bases. No Tarps were injured in this game. You know, the funny thing, Todd, is that when we did the 85 playoffs, Coleman played all the way through and couldn't hit. He just could not hit. How you doing, Andy? So here we go. Best of three starts with a base hit to left. Baker will cut it off, and Coleman starts this game with a single. Here's Willie McGee at 353, 18 triples, 10 homers, and 82 RBI. Don't let John Tudor fool you. As we throw to first, and Coleman... Oh, they got him! How about that? They got him, and Coleman kind of jumped the gun. Someone said something about an automatic Tarp machine here at Dodger Stadium. Threw to Garvey, and Garvey threw a strike to Russell, and there's one out. That's an auspicious start. I was about to say the Cardinals have tremendous pitching, but they can manufacture runs like you would not believe, although you didn't see it there. McGee, as we said, 353, 10 homers, and 82 RBI. Hooten deals. There's a ground ball to Cey, over to Garvey, and McGee is out on a bang-banger. The Dodger defense is going to have to be pretty quick, because this team can run, except for Jack Clark, who hit 281, 22 homers, and 87 RBI. Hooten deals, and there's a fly ball to left. Back goes Baker. Dusty is there and drops it and made the catch. He played hot potato with it and grabbed it. Oh, how unlucky St. Louis is. They get a hit, and Vince Coleman gets thrown out after half an inning here in front of 55,000 fans here in L.A. Cardinals nothing. Here come the Dodgers. I will find John Tudor's replay numbers from 85. He's 31 years old. The prod is connected to the... You miss a day and you forget how to talk. The pride of Schenectady is 31 and 85. Fastball at 85. And a ground ball plus pitcher. I installed the latest update. I'm not sure which update I installed. I have it. Tudor went 21 and 8 in real life with a 1.93 ERA. He started 36 games. 275 innings, 209 hits, 14 homers. He's walked 49 and struck out 169. What was in the latest update? Here's a lineup that he will face. Billy North will lead off in center field. With the lefty, you're not going with Rick Monday. Davey Lopes will bat second and play second. Reggie Smith will go third in right field. Ron Say at third cleans up. Steve Garvey, for the minor cleanups. Okay, won't really matter for this. Steve Garvey at first will bat fifth. Lee Lacy, the DH, will go sixth. Dusty Baker, he's not 29 in that picture, is in left field. He'll bat seventh. He just made a hot potato catch out there. Billy Russell at short bats eighth. And Joe Ferguson, who came over from Houston mid-year, will bat ninth behind the plate. Tudor can give you 130 pitches. Defensively for the Cardinals, they're a solid team. Terry Pendleton is a 9 at third. Ozzie Smith, a 9 and a 7 at short. Don't write Dave on those, okay? Tommy Herr, a 5 and an 8 at second. Jack Clark, a 6 at first. Vince Coleman, a 5 and an 8 in left. Willie McGee, an 8 and a 7 in center. Andy Van Slyke, a 4 and a 9 arm in right. Darryl Porter is a 5 and a 4 behind the plate. Tudor is a 7 with a .955 fielding percentage as they play for the bunt from Billy North. Really? Garvey has set aside an entire row of seats for his platonic and corporate friends. Yes. That all happen to be blonde. North swings. Ground ball to Clark. Has to take a long run to first himself, but Billy was jogging it, 1 out. I like that. Platonic and corporate. Were they also at a Coldplay concert? Davey Lopes at 278, 17 homers, and 58 RBI. Fly ball to left. Back goes Coleman. That is well hit. Vince to the wall. Makes the catch, 2 out. It's a firecracker of a catch. Reggie Smith at 295, 29 homers, and 93 RBI. Pitch to Reggie. Struck him out. So Tudor gets the Dodgers in order. 2-2 off-speed pitch. Got him looking. And after 1 here in game 1, no score. So Van Slyke, Herr, and Porter to face Hooten, here's a who, in the second. Andy at 259, 13 homers, and 55 RBI. When Andy had his all-star game from Purgatory in '88, he was with the Pirates. And that was the all-star game where he hit the game-tying home run with 2 out in the 9th and then had to catch the 10th. Didn't go very well. Van Slyke, high fly ball, right field. Reggie Smith won't get it. Van Slyke homers. Are you kidding me? The Cardinals get a run on a home run? The legend of Andy Van Slyke continues. He may be no Dave Stegman, but that's pretty good. Hooten heard a whoosh with that. And it's 1-0 St. Louis. So here's Tommy Herr. Tommy at 302. Nice perm in that picture too, Tommy. 8 home runs and 110 RBI. He might have been, I know we talked about this when we did it in 22, the last less than 10 home run, triple-digit RBI player. Tommy hits a ground ball to Lopes. Davey throws to first for the out. So 1 away for Darryl Porter. Darryl at 221. Tom Nieto did a lot of catching, I think, for the Cardinals in 85 as well. 10 home runs and 36 RBI. Fly ball, center field. North coming in and will make the catch, and that will be 2 out. For Terry Pendleton, who hit 240 in 85, 5 homers and 69 RBI. In the left center, popped up. Russell on the grass. And that didn't go as far as I thought. However, A home run for Andy Van Slyke, and the Cardinals go up 1-0 here in the second. Or Mario Mendoza, I'm about to say. The Dodgers beat everybody in 78 to win the World Series, except for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And in one of those most memorable games in RSN history, it was Mario Mendoza who hit a pinch hit home run, much to the delight of our old friend Lorenzo, who I believe pretty much had an aneurysm right then and there. It'll be Say, Garvey, and Lacey here in the second. The Penguin at 270, 23 homers, and drove in 84 in 78. There is a base hit past Ozzie Smith in the left. Coleman throws it in. So, I'm not sure if that ever even happened in real life, because you played other teams so much. And in 78, you played the other division 12 times, where you win a World Series, but you have a team where you don't beat them. That was the last game of the year between the Dodgers and the Pirates, if I remember correctly. Steve Garvey at 316, 21 homers, and drove in 113. Say on first, 1-0 St. Louis here in the second. To her, Ozzie for 1, and Garvey's going to reach. So they get the fielder's choice force. 1 out for Lacey. Lee was not there for picture day. Hitting .261, 13 homers, and 40 RBI. Lacey, pass Pendleton down the line at third. Coleman with a bad play. Garvey around. Go ahead. Make your jokes about the chance there. Garvey around third. He's going to try and score. Lacey's on his way to third to throw to the plate, and everybody's safe. 1-1. The Penguin? The Penguin. So, a big base hit for Lee Lacey, and that'll bring up Dusty Baker. Dusty looking a bit haggard at 262, 11 homers, and 66 RBI. He played forever. Cardinals of the 80s seem to do all the little things right. Yes, they do, which is how they got to they won a World Series. Starting pitching, maybe the best taught of the 8 teams that are here. Deep bullpen, play great defense, timely hitting, and they steal bases. Yep, 82 Cardinals were that way. Although I think you can make the case, although Keith Hernandez is with the 82 Cardinals, that the 85 Cardinals were better. Pitch to Baker. Line drive to the Wizard, and Lacey is back, 2 out. So 1-1 tie, no shutdown inning. Here's Bill Russell at 286, 3 homers, and 46 RBI. If fate hadn't intervened that Saturday night in Kansas City, I think that 85 Cardinal Club would go down as one of the best of all time. For all the reasons that you mentioned, they didn't hit for power. Although their run was today's on the Van Slyke homer, but they did everything else right. Pitch to Russell, runner goes, Tudor has it, third base side of the rubber, throws to Clark, and that will do. So the Dodgers tie this one up on 2 hits and no errors. We go to third in game 1, 1-1. I think Tudor gave up as many runs in the first 2 innings as he did in the entire postseason. In 85. Tito Landrum, Ozzie Smith, and Vince Coleman here in the third. Tito at 280, 4 homers and 21 RBI. There's a ground ball to Russell. Over to Garvey, 1 out. And again, the Dodgers aren't chopped liver by any stretch. I don't think their pitching is as good as St. Louis's, but it's a short series, so they hit for power. They play good defense. They have good speed. And you got Bob Welch in that pen who can get you, if you need someone that's going to throw you 6 innings out of the pen, Welch is the guy. They made mincemeat out of the Rangers when we did that World Series. The Wizard at 276, 6 homers and 54 RBI. Maybe the other big surprise from this was the Rangers beating Ron Guidry and the Yankees in New York in Game 5 of that ALCS. It was Bobby Bonds with 2 home runs that chased Guidry, and the Dodgers won that World Series in 5. St. Louis, did they sweep Toronto? Was that my lone sweep? So both of these teams, at least on this channel and in this engine, have strong playoff pedigrees. Pitch to Ozzie is a ground ball to third. Say's got it over to Garvey, and Ozzie is retired. Garvey loved Lacey. Yes, but maybe not that one. Here's Coleman. Vince singled his first time up, opening 9 for Hooten, 27 pitches, 2 2/3, 2 hits, and the home run to Van Slyke in the second. That is a line shot to Garvey, and that will do. So the Cardinals go in order in the third. After 2.5, 1-1. So Ferguson, North, and Lopes to face Tudor in the third. Joe, as we said, over from Houston in 78. Hit .237, 7 homers, and 28 RBI. If there was a weakness in the Dodger lineup, it was behind the plate until Mike Scioscia matured. And Steve Yeager, a very good defensive catcher, but as my wife said, couldn't hit a potato chip. Right back to the mound. Tudor throws to first for the out. 1 away for Billy North, who's 0 for 1. Tudor opening 9, 25 pitches, 2 1/3, 2 hits, the run, and a strikeout. North is going to bunt. Tries to drop one down, and he's going to reach. So the DeMarco play worked. You're going to give him that. That's the third hit for the Dodgers. And that'll bring up Davey Lopes with 1 out. Davey 0 for 1. There's a line shot to Ozzie, and North has to go back. If we seeded these teams by record, this would be the 4-5 matchup. Reggie Smith struck out his first time up. Throw to first, North back. There is a base hit, left center field. Ozzie Smith with a poor play. Coleman had to field it, and runners on the corners for Say, and 2 out. So, unlike the 85 Dodgers, the 78 Dodgers are timing John Tudor pretty well. Say singled his first time up. The plan is, if the engine allows, that we will do Game 2 tomorrow from St. Louis. If not, we'll have another first-round game. Game 1. To third, Pendleton. Snap throw to Clark, and that will do. So the Dodgers threaten but do not score. 2 hits. They've left on 3 overall. And after 3 in Game 1, St. Louis won, the Dodgers won. For Willie McGee, who is 0 for 1, Clark and Van Slyke to follow. Bert Hooten, not as flashy as Don Sutton, not as famous as Tommy John, but a workhorse for sure. But you're right, he doesn't look all that happy in this picture. McGee, 0 for 1. To third, Say's got it. The Penguin is retired. 1 out for Jack Clark, who's also 0 for 1. Popped up. Say, third base side, fair territory. Ryan goes back, makes the catch. A great play, as a matter of fact. And there's 2 out. You guys have gone quiet. For Andy Van Slyke, who homered in his first time up. You guys do cross-era tournaments at all? How do you? Todd, I know, has done an Action PC League, or is currently doing one. So what are you guys' thoughts on cross-era play? Pitch to Thumper. That's up the middle. Lopes snares it, throws to Garvey, and that will do. We go to the bottom of the 4th here at Dodger Stadium. Cardinals won, Dodgers won. That's how your daughter says it? Says what? Penguin? Penguin? So, here are how they finished in the regular season in real life. Seattle obviously would be the number 1 seed. The 49 Yankees, and interesting because in real life the 49 and 56 Yankees had the same record. Then the 85 Cardinals, the 78 Dodgers, the 4-5. Then Boston and Cincinnati. Cincinnati being the world champions in the replay. And last but not least, 86-win Montreal, who beat Baltimore in that World Series. Wade Boggs hit 366. That's the best. Mickey Mantle in his Triple Crown year hit 353 along with Willie McGee. Ichiro, Brett Boone, you'll see. Home runs. Mickey Mantle hit 52 in his Triple Crown year. Brett Boone at 37 and Yogi. So this is not going to be a lot of power in this one. Brett Boone drove him 141. You're seeing John Tudor, the top ERA guy today. And Hooten would be 5th. Jose Rio, Steve Rogers, who had a monster year for me in 82. Whitey Ford. And look at all the walks from the Yankee pitchers. Good luck to in that series. Garvey 0 for 1. He scored the run on the Lacy hit. Interesting. Why is that? I've never... Pinquin. Burgess Meredith would be rolling in his grave. Oh, in 49, we just had a just walk after walk after walk after walk. Pitch to Garvey is a fly ball left center. Back goes McGee. Willie will make the catch, and there's one out for Lacy, who doubled and drove home a run. And he draws the walk for Dusty Baker, who is 0 for 1. So Lacy, a threat to steal. Baker punches this one into left center for a base hit. So McGee throws it back in. Runners on first and second, one out for Bill Russell. Can Russell bunt? He can. Could also hit and run here. He is 0 for 1. Oh, you know what I forgot to set? We'll do that for tomorrow. Is the outcome box. Because some of you like that. So again, cross-error play. What are you guys' thoughts? Russell will swing. That's a ground ball to Ozzie. Her for 1. Tommy has no throw to first. 2 out. Runners on the corners for Joe Ferguson, who's 0 for 1. So Russell on first. And Lacy on third. Tudor trying to keep this a 1-1 game in the 4th. Slow chopper to the Wizard. Ozzie makes it a great play over to her, and the Dodgers leave on 2. Ozzie Smith, a great play? Who would have thought? No runs, a hit, and no errors. We go to the 5th in Game 1. Cardinals and Dodgers tied at 1. So her, Porter, and Pendleton to face Hooten here in the 5th. Ground ball to Lopes, over to Garvey, 1 out. Hooten has only thrown 41 pitches. Darryl Porter is 0 for 1. We told you that Hooten was a pitch-to-contact pitcher. Hadn't walked or struck out anybody yet. High fly ball, right field. Reggie makes the catch for the out. And with the modern-day Yankees not making it, there is no Reggie Jackson in this series. Terry Pendleton is 0 for 1. Right back to the mound. Hooten throws to Garvey, and we are halfway home. Through Game 1 of this best of 3, it is on a slightly rainy afternoon here in Burlington. Cardinals and Dodgers tied at 1. He joined us late. We got our monitor issue figured out, so we can actually stream live and read the chat. A run on 2 hits and no errors for St. Louis from the 85 Cardinals, the champions from 2022. On the 78 Dodgers, champions from 2020, a run on 5 hits and no errors. Andy Van Slyke, a solo homer, of all things for this Cardinal team to do. Made it 1-0 St. Louis in the second. Lee Lacy doubled home Steve Garvey in the bottom of the second to make it 1-1. And as you will when you have ace versus ace, John Tudor, a 5-hitter through 4, an earned run, a walk and a strikeout. Bert Hooton, a 2-hitter through 5, the home run to Andy Van Slyke, and that's it. Billy North, 1 for 2. Tudor, 51 pitches to go with all that through 18 batters. North, 1 for 2. He had a bunt singles last time up. As far as Crosshair, not so much, Andy says, only 10 years tops. I don't think you are in the minority. Not my favorite thing to do. You're not going to prove anything that way. You know, the only thing that these 8 teams have in common is they played in a World Series. Todd B says, I, of course, like it, but when you mix up with dead ball against newer teams, seems wonky. Yeah, it's kind of hard to visualize, isn't it? Sort of like putting a 3-point team up against a non-3-point team in the NBA. I know you don't play a lot of strap basketball, but those players on the computer for non-3-point teams are rated for 3-point shooting. So you theoretically could do it. North, high ground ball to her. Tommy can't make a play, and that's an error. So North will reach. Nobody out for Davey Lopes, who's 0 for 2. Did I remember my password for the TV was I love Bob Stanley? It's exactly what my password was. How did you know that? I'm so embarrassed. In the right, Van Slyke makes the catch and North has to go back. Andy had it played perfectly. 1 out for Reggie Smith, who has singled and struck out. Fly ball left field. Coleman going back, and that is gone. Reggie Smith is homered, and the Dodgers go up 3-1 here in the 5th. Mr. Howard, where are you? So the 78 Dodgers are doing what the 85 Dodgers could not and solve John Tudor. He nearly put it in the bullpen out there in left field. So 3-1 L.A., and here is Ron Say, who is 1 for 2. When Andy was a kid, he did it more. I think it's a great way to learn history. I also don't have much interest in all-time teams. Yeah, neither do I. Although I saw Dave unbox Chris White's best of 70 sets. Those look gorgeous. The APA compatible. Just so slick. But yeah, for me, I've been asked this before. The thing about all-time great franchise things are you're stretching the ability of the engine to give you a good result. So let's say you got like a Tom Seaver or Pedro Martinez pitching, or a Sandy Koufax, and they get lit up because they're facing Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Reggie Jackson. In the end, I think if you played 162 games with the sets, you'd probably get close to right, but you were just going to have an impossible time to make anyone happy. Pitch to Say, struck him out. Tudor takes things in his own hands. A 1-2 fastball got him 2 out for Garvey. Steve is 0 for 2. He's reached and scored. Reggie Smith, Todd, I think is not a Hall of Famer, but in that Cecil Cooper, Don Mattingly Hall of the Very Good. And there's a ground ball to first. Clark can't make the play. Another error for St. Louis. What were we saying about the Cardinals' defense being very good? So Garvey hit one through the wickets on Clark. 2 out for Lee Lacy. who has doubled and walked and driven in a run. There's a ground ball to third. Pendleton throws it over to Clark, and that will do. However, Reggie Smith, a big 2-run homer in the 5th, has put the Dodgers up 2 runs, a hit, and 2 errors by the Cardinals. After 5, LA 3, St. Louis 1. So Landrum, Ozzie Smith, and Vince Coleman to face Hooten here in the 6th. Tito is 0 for 1. There is a base hit left center field. North will throw it to second, and Landrum is in there with a double. So Tito challenged the odds and made it. Only the 3rd Cardinal hit. Here's Ozzie Smith. He's 0 for 1. Some guys stream all-time Marlins versus all-time Padres. We won't mention those. Yep. I suppose if you grew up in the area, you might find one. And for like the legacy teams such as the Yankees, for instance, how do you keep that to 25? That's a base hit left center field. Baker will cut it off. Landrum will score. It's 3-2. So Ozzie has an RBI single. That'll bring up Vince Coleman, who's 1 for 2 with the single. Bert Hooten, 18 batters, 57 pitches, 5+ innings, 4 hits, the solo homer from Van Slyke, and now 2 earned runs. Scotty, we were wondering about you. The Goats have been sold tickets to St. Louis for Game 2 of this series. And Coleman draws the walk. So after the big home run from Reggie Smith, the Cardinals prevent the shutdown inning. Willie McGee is 0 for 2. And for, let's say, a newer team like Tampa or Arizona, are there 25? That would be in the same, I mean, yeah. I mean, of course there are, but could they be competitive? Pitch to McGee. That's up the middle. Russell throws to Garvey, and Willie's retired. So Ozzie on third, Coleman on second, 1 out for Jack Clark, who is 0 for 2. That is into center field for a base hit. Ozzie scores. Coleman around third, and we're tied. No, the Cardinals go up 4-3. What was that about timely hitting? They've only had 5 hits, but they've made them count. They haven't left anybody on yet. Here's Andy Van Slyke. He homered in the second. He is 1 for 2. Throw down to second, and it's Jack Clark trying to steal. Are you kidding me? The Dodgers get a gift. You got 7,000 stolen bases on this team for St. Louis, and you're sending Jack Clark? Don't call it a comeback, darling. Don't sleep with your rally cap on. So Van Slyke shaking his head there. My word. Thumper hits a ground ball to Garvey over to Hooten, and that will do. It's a huge inning for St. Louis, however. 3 runs on 3 hits, and they still haven't left anybody on. After 5.5, it's the Cardinals 4, the Dodgers 3. So Baker, Russell, and Ferguson to face Tudor here in the 6th. Dusty 1 for 2. He's got himself a single. Left center field, McGee will make the grab, 1 out. For Russell, who is 0 for 2. Missed a sign for sure. Yeah, I'm glad to see the computer aggressive, but there are so many people on this team that can run. And then you're sending me to steal the base. It just, sure. Russ is 0 for 2. So, anyone done a playoff tournament with the version 25 and trying to do one series at a time? When we did the LCSs for, no, we didn't do an LCS, we did the World Series. So it was the same series. But before, when you tried to play one series at a time, it kind of yelled at you. So we'll see what we do. The plan is Game 2 in St. Louis tomorrow. But instead we may have another Game 1. There's a ground ball to third. Pendleton's got it over to Clark for the out. 2 out for Ferguson, who's 0 for 2. I would prefer to do one series at a time. And then you guys can tell me what you want for the next first round series. So we're playing on June 4th. All 4 of these series start on the 4th. And there's no off day between any of the games. I believe I just did it at 4, 5, and 6. Pitch to Fergie. Struck him out. That's 3 for Tudor, and we're through 6. So John snorts as he heads back to the dugout. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the 7th here at Dodger Stadium. Cardinals 4, Dodgers 3. So Herb, Porter, and Pendleton to face Hooten here in the 7th. I'm assuming that, well, I know that we'll have a Game 2 at Busch, that it would be Don Sutton versus Joaquin Andujar. Tommy Herr is 0 for 2. There is a base hit left or right center field, and Reggie Smith cut it off. 6th hit for both teams. Here's Darrell Porter. He's 0 for 2. Fly ball, right field. Reggie will make the catch. They asked Reggie Smith, well, what do you feel about being the only Reggie in this series, or in this tournament? And all he could do was giggle. And one of those, we talked about it earlier, Todd, I don't think Reggie ever got the due that he deserved for being a great player. He played for the Cardinals for a while, too, along with the Red Sox and the Dodgers and others, for just being a very consistent player. Terry Pendleton is 0 for 2. Herr on first, 1 out, top the 7th. Cardinals 4, Dodgers 3. Runner goes, ground ball to Lopes, over to Garvey. Pendleton is retired, and Herr goes to second. Yeah. Tito Landrum 1 for 2. He has doubled and scored. And no pinch hitter for that, and Landrum draws the walk. So ads in the chat? Seriously? Andy, you're watching on your phone, or you're watching on your phone, right? I hope that we're not. That would be new. I wonder if it's just a phone thing. Scotty says playing for the Red Sox could be a blot on your record. I did not know that popped up in chat. I'm sorry about that. I'll take my penny, though. Ozzie Smith 1 for 2. Scotty and the Goats are biting the hand that feeds them their brunch every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Ozzie has an RBI and a run scored. In the middle of me talking. Is it a text ad? Is it an audio ad? That sucks. Pitch to Ozzie is a line drive to Lopes. And that will do. Stretch time 4-3 Cardinals. Not that I'm going to encourage this, but I'm sure if you were a channel member, you probably wouldn't see those because Google gets their money. Just saying. Again, that does not mean become a member, because we don't do that. Become a Patreon. There we go. Billy North is 1 for 3, a single run scored. 27 batters deep for Tudor, just 81 pitches, 6 innings, 6 hits. The home run to Reggie Smith, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Only 2 of the 3 runs are earned. How you doing, P-Jet? Pitch to North. There's a ground ball to her. Quick throw to first, and North is retired. Davey Lopes is 0 for 3. Noon tomorrow, presumably for the Dodgers and the Cardinals game 2 in St. Louis. I got to open up. Mark Shaw, who is one of the most tremendous people in the community, has sent me all of his ballpark pictures again. And so I will put that in and do up a nice one for AstroTurf St. Louis, because I'm sure that the default picture for Bush is grass. Pitch to Lopes is 0 for 3. That's into center. McGee makes the catch, and there's 2 out. For Reggie Smith, who is singled and homered in this one, and driven in 2. Yep, 110. Yeah, Mark Shaw stuff is great. Yeah, Andy's a Patreon, and again, don't. That was not an obligation. Please don't think that was an obligation to do anything like that. But I bet that's why. I didn't know that they did that with that, because I purposely don't have the computer run the ads on the schedule, so they come in at a natural break. Anyway, enough of that. So yes, 8 home runs and 110 RBI in 85. Pitch to Reggie. There is a high ground ball to the Wizard. Smith to Smith, over to Clark. Sounds like a law firm, and that will do. After 7, no runs, no hits, no errors. In game 1 of this best-of-3 tournament, it is the Cardinals 4, the Dodgers 3. So Vince Coleman, Willie McGee, and Jack Clark to face Bert Hooton here in the 8th. Hooton, 27 batters, 83 pitches, 7 innings, 6 hits. The home run, he's walked 2. When does the Bitcoin go on sale? Look for an ad later today, okay? Well, Vince is 1 for 2. He has walked and scored and thrown out trying to steal second. To Lopes. Web jam over to Garvey. Davey robbed him. Oh, Davey. And there's 1 out. Let's go Redbirds. John rooting for the road team. Willie McGee 0 for 3. That's a base hit left field. Baker will pick it up. For Jack Clark, who had that 2-run single in the 6th, and then was thrown out trying to steal second. Throw to first. McGee back. 4-3 Cardinals, 1 out here in the 8th. Bitcoin and New Hampshire Goldbacks. Do we find those at the liquor store on the interstate? Driving down to Bow on 89. Getting my bottle of JD. Throw down to second, and McGee has it stolen. So the Cardinals, again, if it wasn't for the Reds being called the Big Red Machine, the way that the Cardinals produce runs or manufacture them really is the Big Red Machine. So 1 strike count to Jack Clark. Hooton deals. There's a ground ball to Lopes over to Garvey, and Clark is retired. So McGee to third, 2 out for Van Slyke, who again on a team that maybe homered 100 times in 85, hit a big one here. And Tom Diedenfuhr has been chained to a goat. He cannot pitch for the Dodgers. The greatest rest area in the country. Liquor store on both directions on 93. Yep. Can't get a burger and fries. Can't get a Coke. Well, you probably could get a Coke or a Moxie. What would happen if you mixed a Moxie with like a bottle of butternut schnapps or butterscotch schnapps? Would the world stop turning? Pitch to Van Slyke. There's a base hit into right center field. McGee will score. Andy Van Slyke, who was only in because of the right-handed pitcher, his 2 RBI today. And it's 5-3 Cardinals. Here's her. Tommy 1 for 3. Oh, you can't get food? Not that Andy's ever done that. Todd, every time you go to New Hampshire, live free or die. Liquor store drive-through on the interstate. Drive-through. Don't even have to get out of your car. Steve says if Davy Lopes got drunk and accidentally got married, would that mean he elopes? Only if it was Jennifer Lopez. Her 1 for 3 with a single. That's a big run. Hooten deals. Throw down to second, and Van Slyke is out trying to steal. So the Cardinals press the issue, and the inning ends. 1 run, however, a big one, 2 hits and no errors. We go to the bottom of the 8th in Game 1, 5-3 St. Louis. So say to face the Penguin, Garvey and Lacey to face Tudor. Ron is 1 for 3. He has singled and struck out. That was a clutch run. Scotty apparently has watched the last 7 years with the sound off, if he didn't think we had puns. Tudor starts the 8th, and Say draws the walk. Hey, I was worried I was going to start taping these things. Here's Garvey. Steve is 0 for 3. He has scored a run. He is also the tying run as Tudor crosses the 100-pitch mark. There's a ground ball to first. Clark, Ozzie for 1. Back to Clark for 2. A 3-6-3 double play. And there's 2 out for Lee Lacey, who had doubled home a run and walked. The thing about this is if it stays a 2-run game, the Dodgers bench is pretty good. Get thee to a puntery. And there is the defense. Pitch to Lacey is a ground ball to her over to Clark, and we go to the 9th. Hooten's going to stay. Dodgers threaten but do not score in the 8th. The double play got it Tudor out of the jam. After 8, 5-3 St. Louis. So her, Porter, and Pendleton. I think I told you when I divvied these up. I think that the Cardinals, in a short series, are the best of the 8 teams. We'll see what happens over the next 7 weeks. And they still haven't won this one yet, so Tommy Herr 1 for 3. Slow chopper to Hooten. Over to Garvey, 1 out. For Darrell Porter, who is 0 for 3. It'll be Baker, Russell, and Ferguson, with Billy North, if anyone should reach. Popped up. First base side, Garvey, a rainmaker on this gorgeous night in L.A., 2 out. For Terry Pendleton, who's 0 for 3. Hooten 1 out away from presumably a complete game. To short, Russell over to Garvey, and that'll do it. So St. Louis, no runs, no hits, and no errors. It's rally cap time here at the stadium. Bottom 9, St. Louis 5, LA 3. I wonder how they're selling those. A local oil company. So Baker 1 for 3. A single. 5 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for St. Louis. They've left on just 2. The Dodgers, 3 runs, 6 hits, and no errors, and they leave on 6. Is Don Denkinger the umpire first? I don't think so. Tudor starts the ninth. Fly ball, a pop-up, right side. Clark can't get it. Bounces off the Cardinal dugout and into the seats. There are 2 Yankee teams in this tournament. Dusty Baker, a little 1-2 count. Tudor deals. Up the middle. Hurst snares it, throws to Clark, 1 out. So 2 to tie, 3 to win. Russell will hit. He's 0 for 3. Stevie Wonder not available to umpire. Jose Feliciano. Base hit, right center. All the way to the wall. Van Slyke with a bad play on it, and Russell's on second with 1 out. And now we will pinch hit for Joe Ferguson, who can hit a lefty. And it's going to be, Davalillo or Johnny Oates? It'll be Johnny Oates, who's the pinch hitter at 307. No homers and 6 RBI. Reverse splits. He's a .500 hitter against lefties. And he is the tying run. So Russell on second. Tudor with 1 out here in the 9th, trying to finish this one out. Allegedly blind. Okay. Porter and Tudor have a word. Pitch to Oates. Fly ball, left center. McGee, 2 out. Russell will hold. So last chance saloon. Billy North. We look. 268. Oh. And now they'll go with Vic. Reverse splits. Davalillo, who hit .312. A home run and 11 RBI. That's what Shaq said. Jose Feliciano, allegedly blind. Doesn't wear a size 24 like me. So Tudor waits for me to finish with the stupid impressions. On the mound, Vic digs in there, and again, reverse splits. Favor of the Dodgers, last chance saloon. Russell is the 4th run, and Vic is the tying run, and if he should reach, it's Davy Lopes. Tudor deals. Ground ball to Clark, over to Tudor, and the Cardinals win game 1, 5-3. And so in 2 hours and 24 fake minutes, Andy Van Slyke has earned himself the Digital Dice MVP 2001. That's huge. Although I gotta be honest, I don't think anyone really has home field advantage in any of these. So tomorrow will be game 2 in St. Louis, hopefully. 5 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors. Cardinals trying to wrap this up in 2. They left on just 2. That was very efficient. The Dodgers, 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors. And they left on 7. A double CG, John Tudor, 9 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned. The home run from Reggie Smith in the 5th. He walked 2 and struck out 3. Bert Hooton takes the hard-luck loss. 9 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, all earned. The home run to Van Slyke, he walked 2 and didn't strike out anybody. Hooton is not happy today. So tomorrow, for game number 2, it will be Don Sutton and Joaquin Andahar in St. Louis, because it's a 1-1-1. So sorry about Monday. We should be all good now, and hopefully the rest of the tournament is like this one. The final score here, the Cardinals take a big game one. They beat the Dodgers 5-3. Tomorrow at noon, game 2 of this series or game 1 of another series. Have a good night, everybody.